with I don't think there is a formula to overcome shame except the tongue.
You begin with the tongue.
Communion.
When you are
conversation.
Yeah. So for example, DJ Lithium, I don't think he might have spoken to himself something positive. If he might have spoken to himself something positive, probably might have prolonged his life for 2 or 3 hours or something of that nature, and so on and so forth. But I do think that the more your mouth is shut, the more your worth is lost.
I agree.
Because
words are life.
Words are life. You remember what we said last week, that there's got to be some part of affirmation. But we're saying this from the angle of creating worth in someone else. To create worth in someone else, those guys who are listening, whether you're a woman or a man, especially the women, to create worth in your man, you speak, you affirm.
Yes.
Affirm your man. Same thing, dads and moms, to your kids. To create worth in them, you speak words to them. But today we're talking about you, a man facing himself. You are alone. How do we use the affirmation thing to create worth in ourselves? We are learning that our mouths should not be shut.
No.
We should open our mouth, preach ourselves a revival if we have to. But then I think we need to be vulnerable enough to reach out and have conversations with other people. That's why we're doing solid jamas and inviting people for meals.
Let me tell you about solid jamas, like real solid jam.
Yeah.
These 4 men have a friend who is a paraplegic. He's paralyzed.
Yeah.
He can't walk, he can't help himself. If he can't help himself, it means that he goes to the toilet where he's seated.
Yeah.
And then they discover, Jesus is preaching a sermon somewhere in a house and it's packed up.
Yeah.
And they said, doesn't matter, man. We have to get our guy.
We got your back.
We have to get our guy in the presence of Jesus. So they go up and they begin to tear up another man's roof. The audacity.
Yeah.
The audacity to climb up. You see,
Kenyans will say audacity.
You see, you climb up a man's house and then you carry a sick man, a paraplegic. I don't even know how they carried this man up the house.
Logistics.
And then
a lot of logistics went into that.
And then they begin to break another man's roof. I want you to just think about this.
Crazy.
You are Jesus. You're preaching. You're preaching in another man's beautiful home. I mean, if it was packed, it probably was a big house.
Yeah.
Or maybe, but just imagine you're there in your house. Jesus is preaching, and then pop,
yeah,
pop, and you see dust. You see, like, what's happening?
What's going on?
Then you see a hole breaking through the roof, and then there is commotion. Even Jesus first pauses. His what? First pauses. His someone is like, what's going on? No? What's happening? Then he's looking at the roof, and then the roof is breaking. So it first breaks that first peak that goes through. Then they begin to tear up the roof. They tear up the roof so that there is enough space.
Modern day they will call anti-terror squad.
You get my point?
Yeah.
This is it's not even Jesus' house. This is another man's house. These guys have come and they are breaking it. The audacity.
Yeah.
And they break it up, and then they lower the man. They lower the man into the presence of Jesus. And get this. The Bible says, Jesus, seeing their faith, he marveled at their faith. He marveled at the audacity of these men. Not
the guy who was lying on the bed sick.
And then he said, so that you will know.
It wasn't even a stretch, it was a bed.
So that you will know that the Son of Man has power to forgive. Think about that. That this verse connects relationships. Yeah? And then disease to sin. And then when he looks at sin, he says, I forgive the sin. And then the healing comes. I want you to think about that. That the shame mostly exists because of our sin we hold ourselves against. We hold against ourselves. But if we forgive ourselves as we have been forgiven, then the healing begins. And And sometimes it takes
time.
But
Sometimes
what we are learning today
yeah,
is sometimes it helps to have some solid jamas who
Around
got your
you.
back,
Yeah.
who are going to carry you
Yeah.
and bring you into the presence of God and say, God,
Yeah.
there's this guy.
Yeah. We believe in this guy.
We believe in this guy. And that is who we are. That is what we want to be for guys out there, carrying you into the presence of God and saying, God, there is this man. He's dealing with pain. He's dealing with depression. He's dealing with a mental breakdown. He doesn't know how he's going to do it. But Jesus, you know what? We lift this man into your presence.
Yeah.
Whatever is bugging him, whatever is holding him back, whatever is making him feel like it is done.
Yeah.
Jesus, we ask that. Reach them.
Yeah.
Set them on their feet
out
again.
Yeah.
And that is what we're doing. You know, breaking borders, breaking rules to get into the presence of God and say, God, sort this man out. So whichever man that is out there and is feeling ashamed,
feeling worthless,
yeah,
feeling you don't have anything to offer this world,
you are forgiven. Forgive yourself.
Yeah.
And pick yourself up. Because what if no one is coming? What if this episode is all you're gonna get? I would have loved Lithium to hear this. But maybe so that other people do not have to be like Lithium.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. Let's tell us about Solid Jamas.
We're here basically to offer a safe space for all the men. And if there is anything that men need more than ever today is each other.
True.
Through conversations, like we've said earlier on, through a meal, maybe through a drink, but basically conversations. Men have been alone for a long time.
Even when they are together, they are alone.
They are alone. So it's time to gather together. It's time to continue. That's why this is just like an interface. Solid Jamas podcast is just like an interface. It's not the real deal. The real deal is when we physically meet.
Yeah, the fireplace.
Talk to one another, have a meal with one another, listen to our own vulnerabilities and stories, lift one another up. I believe we're going to create a capacity that will be able to lift each other up. If we can't, we can reach out to other people who can be able to do the same. That's why Solid Jamas exists. Remember this, the podcast is just an interface. It's not all there is to Solid Jamas.
No.
There is quite a lot there is to Solid Jamas.
We have counselors.
There are counselors in place, but we want to create a lifestyle. We want to create a space, or maybe even spaces for all the men out there. And we're not just doing this for the sake of, dysfunctional men. We're doing this for glorious men also.
The wounded warrior is the warrior nonetheless.
Yeah. In other words, even if you think you're okay, you've got it all sorted, we need you at Solid Jamas.
Because we need your Solid Jama for another one.
Yeah, we need your vibe, we need your glory, we need your shine, man.
Straight.
Right? We need your everything. We need all hands on deck. You don't have a job, we need you at Solid Jamas. You have a job, you are working at the ministry, you're working where you have your startup. We men need each other. For the sake of this world, for the sake of this country, for the sake of our families, our vision. It's time we stopped working alone. So we come to the close of the podcast today. I don't know if you have your last word.
Together.
That's the last word.
Together.
Yeah.
Together we go far. I will do this compelled by love, God, family, and the nation. Please reach out to us. Honestly, I don't know, man.
I feel like
this is getting deeper.
Yeah. We're gonna have another episode in the new week that is coming up, but until then, guys, you're not alone. Bye-bye.
I just wanna win like they
I don't know, man.
Have more than 1 minute day. If my feeling have some food to spare, I just wanna have just a little bit more. But even as much as they do, I bet the rain don't drip on them. And I bet they have new clothes to change. Is it wrong to want just a little bit more? I just wanna win like they do. Oh, like they do. Oh Lord, I just wanna win like they do.